Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to the Early Edge. Love the activity in the chat. Hit the like button if you can. Eric David says, good morning, EE fam, and I say good morning to you with a pretty cool recap screen. Let's take a look at what we did yesterday. Well, it's not perfect, but 5-2 and only a couple losses here. Buckets gets the loss, and then Griffin gets a loss, but don't forget, these were all plus money plays for him. So he hits the plus 142, loses the plus 105. Very good day from the team, and we're going to do it again today on this Wednesday. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Hopefully everybody is staying positive. I'm going to stay positive with the stars of the show. We're bringing them in right here, right now. Early Edge Wednesday, we're missing Tim Doyle. He's calling a game right now. He's calling a game tonight, I believe, on CBS Sports Network, but we got Mikey B, we got Martin Green, and we've got Mike McClure. Mike, I want to start with you because we were just talking a little golf talk before the show, and I don't want to get too far into it. I'll probably have a pick tomorrow as far as a round one matchup is concerned, everybody. But your simulations continue to be on SportsLine. My article is on SportsLine, by the way. It should be published already, if not, maybe in the next hour or so. But we'll see your simulations on SportsLine as well, correct?
Yes, those are up on the site. Generally go up Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning early. But yeah, everything is up there now. Betting card updated later tonight, and a little bit of DFS on SportsLine this week as well.
Absolutely love that. We love DFS. We talked a little DFS on the Early Wedge. If you haven't watched it already, it's in your feed. We do it every single Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. It's me, Patrick McDonald, Eric Cohen. Maybe we'll get Mike McClure to guest star in one of these tournaments, maybe like the Masters or something like that. Martin Green, I noticed that now that Tim Doyle isn't here today, you reverted back to one of your older jerseys as opposed to the brand new posh light blue that you featured last week. And he's on mute. There we go. You got it. I won't tell Tim.
Yeah. It was. I thought I could get away with it today. I could wear my lucky Arsenal jersey, and hopefully it'll deliver some winners for us, seeing as he's not here.
And Mikey B, before we get into college basketball futures, I do want to ask you. You went 2-0 yesterday. That's awesome. How you feeling today about your picks?
Yeah, doing good. We went 2-0. We also mentioned I didn't mind a sprinkle on Sabonis to get a triple-double, and he hit that too. So it was a good night.
Easily. Yeah. He hit that really early in that game, or early for anyone hitting a triple-double. Speaking of great NBA picks, we got prop stars in the chat. Bradley Jacobs, I see you. Chris Kish, he got the Man City over 5.5. Is he? Chris Kish is on fire with the soccer bets. All right, let's get to college basketball really quick before we get into our official bets. I think we're getting to the time of college basketball where basically from here on out, we're going to be talking like March Madness. We're going to be talking bubble watch. I mean, for example, Providence St. John's yesterday, the game that I hit Providence money line, that was a bubble watch game. I mean, the loser of that game, St. John's, is really in trouble in terms of making the NCAA tournament. Providence still in trouble to some degree, but absolutely needed that win. So like these games are big time. Not so much for these teams because these teams are in the NCAA tournament. But Mike, I want to toss this over to you. We've got 10 teams on the board here. I'll tell you, I put in North Carolina way back when, like 5 weeks ago or so, when they were 40-1. I know they had that bad loss to Syracuse yesterday. I still believe in North Carolina top to bottom. With that said, if I had to pick, before I toss it to you, if I had to pick another team here, it's going to be interesting. Auburn plays South Carolina tonight. I think that's going to be a really interesting game. I don't have much interest in Kansas or Duke. I'd probably look at Houston at 10-1 with my North Carolina future. Where are you at? A couple teams you like on this board?
Yeah, so my favorite team, I will say, is off of this board, a little further down in terms of betting value. That team's going to be Creighton. You can find them around 50-1. They're a team that they've struggled a bit on the road, been good at neutral sites, great at home. They're just such a great shooting team at all levels, from three, from free throw. They can score with anyone, and they're actually pretty solid defensively. So I like them in those neutral site environments that we get in the tournament. As far as this board here, I actually would caution against Houston. I think they're a great team in the regular season. I think they're overvalued in the tournament setting. They're one of the worst free throw shooting teams. You have got to be able to make your free throws. The defense can take you so far for sure. But if you don't have a great shooting night and don't have the ability to knock down free throws, I see Houston making a Final Four run and bowing out at that point. I think as far as teams on this board, I think Auburn is interesting in a tournament format. It's hard to not like UConn and Purdue. They just have some – UConn's so talented across the board. Purdue has a unique matchup in every game. But for me, again, my favorite's going off the board here. I love the value at Creighton around 50-1 as I actually priced them around that 1,800 to 2,000 range.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Houston, I just love the inside-outside game. They've got really good guard play. They got some athletes inside. I think on neutral courts, they're just going to be kind of bigger and better than most teams. With that said, let's go to the Final Four odds. I think we have some odds there as well. And again, we see some of the same teams. Mike, I'll just kick it to you real quick. In terms of making the Final Four, do you wait till the brackets come out to make these plays? And if that's the case, is there still anybody here that you might like?
Yeah, so what I would recommend, and we did a segment, Grace Remington and I did one on HQ about rollover parlays in the NFL, where I essentially bet Kansas City Chiefs money line each week, rolled the winnings over. Far more profitable than taking a number like this here. Same situation here. So a lot of these teams, while they might rate better, you're going to have better success if you simply bet them on the money line and roll it over, especially the further down the board you get. So for me, if I had to play something here, again, I do like Auburn. I think that they're a team that is a little undervalued because I will say I think the SEC is actually a little weaker, at least the perception is, relative to Big 12, Big East. So if I had to go anywhere here, I think it'd be Auburn.
All right. Yeah, Auburn again plays South Carolina. It's a big spread. I'll be on HQ. Speaking of HQ, I'll be on HQ tonight between like 6 o'clock and 6:30, talking some college basketball, talking some of my favorite golf picks, which of course, some of which you could have heard yesterday on the early wedge. But I got to say, we've got a star-studded lineup, not just here, but in the chat. Mackenzie Brooks is in the chat. She says, Indiana State is my Cinderella. Maestro is in here. I don't know if he's made a pick on a Final Four odds play or an outright play, but Larry, go ahead and make a pick there. Prop Stars is in the chat. If you like somebody like Rick Funcannon does, he likes Kentucky plus 525 to make the Final Four. And by the way, Hassan Karam is in here, and he says, and this is the first time I've made the live chat, so welcome, Hassan. And by the way, BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $5. You will receive $150 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE150. That's EDGE150. If you like that promo, if you like everybody being in the chat, like Mackenzie Brooks, Prop Stars, I probably missed somebody. Larry's in the chat. Hit the like button. I love that we're kind of teaming up these days in the chat and on the show. And on this show, we have some official picks. Martin Green, we got to hear from you. We got to hear some soccer. We got to hear some NBA. We've got some NCAA. I've got an NBA pick. But before we get to any of those, let's hear a message from our partners.
The madness doesn't just happen.
Y'all get ready!
And although it's marked on our calendars each year, it's built by moments of mayhem before.
And the crowd goes crazy!
And it begins to bubble long before it bursts. Sure, madness and March may go hand in hand, but it starts right here.
People in the chat thanking Mackenzie Brooks for the Elijah Mitchell play. I can tell you, we did the show with her pre-Super Bowl. She went 3-0 on that show. She has been absolutely crushing it. Hopefully everybody's already watching Inside the Lines every day at 1 o'clock on this channel. But very lucky to have Mackenzie Brooks on Inside the Lines and really in this chat because she absolutely crushes it. And Tim Dillon says this is the first time he's in the chat as well. Welcome. He said he usually watches the replay on his lunch break. Absolutely love all the new people in the chat. Tim, Hassan, please hit the like button if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, you're going to want to, because Martin Green is about to give you 2 soccer picks that are surefire winners. I take it back. Try not to jinx you. I'm just trying to give you some confidence in here. You've been hot anyway. I don't think you need any of my confidence. Let's hear the 2 soccer picks.
Thank you very much, Sia. I hope we can deliver a couple of winners here. I am starting in the French capital, where PSG really should be too strong for Real Sociedad when they clash at the Parc des Princes today. The Parisians had an excellent home record during the Champions League group stage. They beat Dortmund and they beat AC Milan at home. They were unfortunate not to beat Newcastle too. The manager, Luis Enrique, rested several key players at the weekend, including their star striker Kylian Mbappe and captain Marquinhos. So the players should be really fresh for this match. Meanwhile, Real Sociedad have gone 4 games without scoring, so I don't think they should cause too many problems for this PSG defence tonight. The odds on a straight PSG win do look appealing, but I really like the idea of combining it with under 4.5 goals. Cumulative odds there of -105. I believe those odds may have shortened a little bit since I sent over this play, but shop around for the best odds. -105 I got. And just looking ahead to the weekend, I think that Newcastle really should get the better of Bournemouth in the Premier League. The Magpies have won 8 out of 12 home matches so far this season. They did lose 2-0 to Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium in November, but I think they should be able to gain some sweet revenge in front of their home fans. So I'm going for a straightforward Newcastle moneyline win this weekend at -120.
Absolutely love it. And I love like David Talk, Chris Kish, Bradley Jacobs also squaring up and talking soccer bets in the chat. So Martin Green, maybe you have a couple of things to respond to, but love the picks. And Mikey B, we're trying to go from 2-0 to 4-0. You've got a couple NBA props to talk to us about. You've got the floor.
All right, before we get into the props, I just want to say today is basically senior skip day in the NBA. There's 13 games. There's a lot of players dealing with some nagging injuries. We got back-to-backs to deal with, and the All-Star break is coming up. So be careful if you're betting sides or totals. Wait until those injury reports come out this afternoon. Just be careful. All right, so now we're going to go to player props because we don't have to worry about those in these situations. First, we're going to take R.J. Barrett over 9.5 rebounds and assists at -133. Now, he did miss practice yesterday. He was attending to a personal matter, and he's officially listed as questionable against the Pacers. If he does return in time for the game, he's not going to be any sort of minutes restriction since this isn't an injury issue. I really like this prop. He's had at least 10 combined rebounds and assists in 8 of 10 games since the Raptors traded away Pascal Siakam. He only played 24 minutes in a blowout loss to the Spurs on Monday, but he still had 5 rebounds and 2 assists. It's a great spot for him against the Pacers, who played at the second fastest pace in the league. Then we're going to go with Trey Mann over 5.5 assists at -145. There's a lot of juice there, but I like it. He started both games since being acquired from the Thunder. He had 9 assists against the Grizzlies last Saturday, 7 assists against the Pacers on Monday. Great matchup for him against the Hawks. They've allowed the 4th most assists per game in the league. So we're going to pay the juice, and we're going to take Trey Mann over 5.5 assists.
Trey Mann over 5.5 assists. RJ Barrett over 9.5 rebounds and assists. So that's an interesting game because I actually have a pick on a side, believe it or not, even on senior skip day in that game. But you'll have to wait for it. And by the way, we've got some college baseball picks in here. Japan, Clemson to win college baseball at +3,500. We're going to have to get some picks out, on this show before college baseball starts up, because I think there are some sleeper teams in college baseball that have a real shot in this 35 to 50 to 1 range that maybe we can kind of, make a bet preseason and just have something we can follow, kind of like the Winnipeg Jets yesterday. I placed that bet on the Winnipeg Jets at 16 to 1. It's fun, right? Just a small amount, and this whole early edge universe can root for the Winnipeg Jets. Maybe we'll add another team on that as far as the futures market is concerned. But let's get to some NBA and college basketball. But before we do that, one more quick message from our partners.
Out there are 2 colossal beings, both forces of nature in their own regard. But in here, as soon as the chute bursts open, the duality of man and beast begins to fade. This is the PBR on CBS Sports Network.
Taylor DeHart says Jets first period -0.5 is a hockey play he likes today. All right, we're just gonna be on the Winnipeg Jets pretty much every time they come out. And Dustin Wiles says, I hope Sia's side is the Pacers' revenge game for Siakam. Fun fact, 2 fun facts. One is, that is my play. And 2 is Siakam, my full name is Siamak, just so everybody knows, Siamak. It's the same letters that Siakam uses. It's just the M and the K are switched around. So I feel some sort of brotherhood with Pascal Siakam because we share the same letters of our name. That's not really a fun fact. I'm sorry I brought it up, but I'm not sorry I'm bringing up the fact that I'm taking the Pacers. Listen, I think this is just the better team, and the Pacers. Look, so first of all, this is a revenge game, if you will. Pascal Siakam, first time back in Toronto as an Indiana Pacer, but the Pacers also got embarrassed last time out. And Rick Carlisle said so much. And I've bet the Pacers before. I don't know if you remember, it was about a week ago, Pacers coming off a loss. I bet them first quarter against the Knicks. They ended up losing that game, but they won the first quarter. I've seen them respond after bad losses. And again, I think this is just the better team. Tyrese Halliburton, he's starting to get the minutes. Like the minutes are sort of back with him. They've got their full roster for the most part. And the Toronto side, I don't know what to make of this team. They got blown out the last couple of games, so I guess they're coming off a bad loss as well to the San Antonio Spurs, but I just don't see it with them. I like that we talked about transition earlier in the show. I think Indiana Pacers are going to turn the ball over, get a lot of transition buckets. I think they're going to dominate inside, and overall, again, I think they're the better team. Coming off a bad loss, playing for Pascal Siakam, I think everything's in place here. This line opened at 3.5. It's up to 4. Like it at 4. I think it'll stay at 4, and I think they end up pulling away in this game late. Give me the cover for the Indiana Pacers -4. That is the NBA play from me. And Mike McClure, we go back to college basketball for you, and we go to where I went yesterday, the Big East. What's your play?
Yeah, see, it seems we're in the Big 12 or Big East every night. Just fantastic action in these two conferences. I'm looking at Seton Hall here. You know, good news, bad news. The line has moved a lot on this one. The good news is if you're a SportsLine member, you had this last night. You had about an hour and 10 minutes from the time that we put it out until the time the market started to move pretty significantly on this one. This money line's up to -135 to 150 in a lot of places, which is very close to where I make it. -155, my number. I make them a -3 favorite. But I like this matchup for Seton Hall. First of all, when you get to conference play, it is extremely difficult to go win on the road. But I think Seton Hall has a few distinct advantages that play really well into the way college basketball games play and are officiated in conference at home. So when I look at Seton Hall, they're an incredible free throw shooting team, 79% as a team. That's good for a top 10 mark. And the thing that they also do well is they keep the opponent off the free throw line, top 15 in defensive free throw rate. So when you're playing at home, you typically get a few additional calls. And when you're really good at not putting the opponent on the free throw line, it puts a lot of pressure on the other side. That combination tends to work really well when playing on the home court. And then the other advantage where I really think Seton Hall has the distinct edge, they're a very good offensive rebounding team, top 5 in the nation in terms of converting second chance opportunities. I like this spot for them. Again, I made Seton Hall a -3 favorite, probably where they're going to close in the market. I played them -1 and at -125 on the money line. Message here though, subscribe to SportsLine, turn the notifications on, and get the play in the night before because these numbers matter a lot in college basketball.
Especially, I mean, I would say in the Big East, which is a conference I follow as well. A lot of these come down to the final possession or two. And again, we say it every single time. Getting the best line, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the bet or that Mike's going to hit his bet, but it guarantees you're going to get the best number. And it happens specifically when Mike's on the show, right? Like he talks about it, I think almost every single time he puts a pick out on SportsLine, the line has changed by 10 in the morning, which doesn't mean you can't bet it any longer, but it does mean you're not getting the best number. So if you want to become a member of SportsLine, if for some reason you're not already a member of SportsLine, super easy. Go to sportsline.com/join, type in winners. We still got this promo code winners as the promo code, and you'll get 60% off the annual plan. And like Mike said, we've got DFS in there. We've got articles in there under the analysis tab where I put my golf article. We've got actual picks, of course, which you all well know because we put them on the early edge, but there are so many more picks on SportsLine than what you get on this 10 o'clock in the morning show. So please, if you're not already subscribed, it's such a great value. There's so much data, so many articles, a ton of DFS, and then of course the picks themselves from all the experts, including some that are not on this show. All right, that's my speech. Sorry about that. And by the way, I have created, Mikey B, I've created a monster with this Sia Mac thing. I mean, the chat is exploding, and now I'm a little worried that nobody is going to address me as Sia ever again. Your response?
Yeah, you've definitely opened the door here, and the chat has blown through it. So you're going to have to get ready. I don't know. You might need to get a little name tag for the next show and put that on there. I don't know. Something.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I have definitely created a monster. Okay, so thanks for being in the chat, by the way. Love all the activity. Prop stars dropping in with Sia Mac. And Japan says, I'm never calling you Sia again. It's going to be Sia Mac from now on. We got a little Sia action for college football season coming up. Let's take a look at the recap screen. Sia long gone, he says. Welcome to the Sia Mac. Martin Green, PSG money line plus under 4.5 at -105. And he's got Newcastle money line at -120. Like I said, I've got the Pacers -4 here. I expect the line to stay right there. So I think you can get that really pretty much anywhere. Mikey B's got RJ Barrett over 9.5 rebounds and assists in that very same game that I bet, and Trey Mann over 5.5 assists. Mike McClure's got Seton Hall money line again. We can't stress it enough. Be a member of SportsLine. Get these picks early because they all, including this Pacers pick, they all come out on SportsLine early, sometimes an hour early and sometimes the night before, which is often the case with Mike McClure. That was not a purposeful rhyme, but it sounded pretty good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our show for today. Of course, we've got a lot more content coming up on this channel today. We mentioned Inside the Lines with Mackenzie Brooks and others. But for the here and now, we got to go. On behalf of Martin Green, on behalf of Mikey B, on behalf of Mike McClure and Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 5s and 6s, this is The Early Edge. I am the counselor. We rest our case.